just 1 sec. Going to do the path. Will take a minute. And we will roll. Okay, so we're going to use the same path, but I'm going to remake it. And we're going to talk about why I'm making this path and the benefits and the negatives to it. So first off, we're going to use Method Dungeon Tools to help us create it. It's a really good tool for communicating the value of creating paths, all this stuff. First thing we want to consider is how quickly are we getting to our first hero. Hero efficiency is really important. So a lot of times you have kind of two methods of how you want to approach it. Either A, you pull all 3 of these first packs and you hero with this. And the reason that's particularly good is if you have, let's say you have like a fire mage in your group. Let's say you have a fire mage and you're building a group for your fire mage. They can tag off of this particular mob and cleave onto all of these other mobs. And why is that great is because this thing has double the health of everything else. The fire mage gets really great uptime on their damage. It's really powerful. You do those kinds of strats. You can do those kinds of strats if you have any class combinations. Like that type of thing is super good for demon hunters, fire mages, unholy DKs, rogues. Super tight. You really want to be doing those kind of strats when you play for those groups. I think we actually have a fire mage. I think he plays fire. No, he plays frost, right? It actually, I think, works for frost too. But what we're instead gonna do is we're gonna invis past this trash. Why is this good? Means that we only have 2 pulls that we do before the first boss, which means we just get good hero uptime instead of doing 4 to 5 packs before the boss. We do 2, so we just get good efficiency. Normally you would do a rogue skip to get this thing off, or a mage skip. You could do the same skip with a mage. We're gonna clear it just for safety's sake. Oh, that's a separate pull. This is a really inefficient guy to kill, but it's hard to skip him efficiently in pugs. We're gonna kill this. How are we exactly doing these? We're gonna kill this and this together. We're gonna kill this and this together. We're gonna kill these. Kill these, this, and this. Then we will likely be at the boss. The reason this is important is because it changes when you kill this boss after you've done the event. Some of the trash mobs leave, so it changes your percent. So it's important to check it. We just clean up the rest of this dungeon. Super clean. 99.6%. What did I forget? There we go. Bingo. Super clean. We take advantage of our invisibility. We get good uptime on our hero. We don't need a rogue for any skips. Super clean. Is there anything I forgot? Priority pulls. Oarsmen are #1 interrupt priorities. So oarsmen are the #1 interrupt priorities in all paths. Sea Spout's the most important thing. Second most important thing are the Shattering Bellows because of what it does to healers and casters. The third most important is Frost Breaths. We have two Frost Breaths in this pack, and they cast together. We have 1 here. We have 2 Shattering Bellows here. We have 1 Sea Spout here. We have a Shattering Bellow here. This guy, not him. This guy. So we have double cast here, and this guy specifically. Where is he? This guy. If we don't, depending on how we clear this pack, the Blind Rage. If we're super ahead of time, we have Blind Rages we need to interrupt. So it's just something to keep in mind. And then the Sea Spout here is incredibly important. The reason this one's important is because you have to do a Death Grip and then interrupt it. So it's a more complicated pull. We didn't get this pull. That's where I'm missing my percent. We pull like that. All right, we're a little over percent. That'll be fine. Eudora, we clear this pack. I like skipping this pack a lot of time, but I never feel comfortable skipping it with a Eudora. This is a safety pull. Yeah, I think we go for it. Okay. Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Thanks everybody for being patient. Thanks for the follow, Schultz. Yeah, I think you followed in the middle of that speech, and I was in the middle of it. Thanks for the follow too, as well, Rock. I think you're the shaman in a run.
3, 2, 1.
Invis to top of stairs. There's a 100 gold skip right here. Now, the one reason this is a somewhat dangerous skip is because you can get popped out of Invis if people are super slow. You have to be giga slow to get popped out of Invis there, but it is possible, I guess. You'd have to be so slow, though.
Poisoning strike. Infected wound. Azrite grenade. Poisoning strike. Healing bomb.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have called out the healing bomb interrupts as well. Why can't I?
Azrite grenade.
The slow grip on that guy was bad, especially for a bolstering week.
Vile bombardment.
Not a huge deal, but definitely not a good look.
Poisoning strike.
Okay, this is probably one of the hardest pulls for me and the healer specifically. There's just a lot of damage, and it's not a very feels good time. So we're gonna pop cooldowns on this.
Vile bombardment.
We won't necessarily need them on the boss as well.
Brutal backhand.
Gonna pop another cooldown here.
Brutal backhand.
Yeah, this is one of these pulls that, like,
Brutal backhand.
there's just not much you can do to really mitigate. Like, you can dodge the backhands, you can deal with the shattering throws better, but ultimately it's gonna just do a lot of damage to you, and it is what it is. If you hero, you want to drag them close to ranged so that he doesn't charge and you don't lose up to him. So I bring him over to range. Stop running away, ranged. Okay. Now we bring him over here. You let your casters get to max range so that they don't take the damage. You allow your range to bait the toxic. Our damage is so far ahead that it's actually not such a big deal. But it's just, these are just good behaviors. These are just good behaviors. I'm gonna reset the boss. Tight. I thought I had, so if you have your back right here, you don't get knocked back. I was right here instead. So I went over the thing. I was literally off by like. Oh my god. Classic. Classic. See, this is the excitement you guys were looking for. If the key was too easy, it would just be boring to watch, right? Ah. It's okay. Let's do that again without the errors. Same plan. Let them get to max range. Bait out the bad. Don't be a goofball. There's like only 2 permutations you have to worry about too for like where he comes from that you can get hit by it in this position. Ugh. It's okay. Feels bad though. Resetting a Tyrannical boss at like 30%. Ugh. Ugh. Eh. I think this is an important example, though, of like understanding that mistakes happen. Shit happens, and it's okay. You just you play around it. You just play around it. In team keys, you just go next. You push high and you go next when this kind of stuff happens. But in pugs, you just gotta be a little loose. Just gotta be a little loose. Just go with the flow. Shit's gonna happen. Bad stuff's gonna happen, and it's okay. It's a-okay. It is a-okay. Not good, but it's okay. It'll be okay. Where's the position of the pat? Okay, it's coming around. Watch out for the duelist dash. Yeah. C-spout. We're not going to get it, so move to the side here. Duelist dash. Nice. Classic, classic, classic. Depending on our timings, I could have pulled the emissary out, but there it looked like we didn't need to. This is a tougher pull, so I'm using Dancing Rune on this right off the bat. This will be a tougher pull for sure. This is where we're looking for the Shattering Bellows. Yeah, so I got one. Somebody else got the other. Blind Rage, come here.
Shattering Bellow.
Blind Rage, we're going to... We'll get both of the Blind Rages. Oop, can't get that one. Tight, 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 tight. Super clean. That's a harder pull for sure. Doing 40k as a tank, though, makes it a bit easier, but it's a harder pull for sure.
Rat traps. Going bananas.
So what happens is everybody like... So what I did there was a mistake. Pulling... So sometimes... How to explain this? If you're on the same page with your DPS about like the chain pulls that you do, they'll know to switch off the targets and stuff like that. In this situation, obviously we're not on the same page. So I wanted to go... Ooh, Frost Breath, got it. I want to chain it so that we could passive cleave off of that guy. He's got a lot of health, and killing him alone is not super effective. But in hindsight, I probably should have just waited. That double bolster wasn't good. It doesn't... In the long run, it's not going to matter for this key, but it's just... It's team key behavior versus pug behavior. And I should have done the safer route. Always go safe. All right, we have 4 minutes.
Going bananas.
I don't know why, yeah. I don't know why those guys don't release. I want my cooldowns for this pull, so we're gonna pull this one first. These ones will release. You'll watch. This guy will release. I don't know why. See, he's now active as an enemy. I don't know. Frost Breath. I got the first one, and I got the second one. I didn't get the third one.
Shattering Bellow.
Okay, 19 seconds. Where's the pat? Oh, he's going away. That's unfortunate. That's okay. We'll make it work. what that means, because the position the Pat's in, I have to pull this back
Going bananas.
because we don't want to get him in the middle of the pull. Because of the roots, I can't use it. So, just something to know. And this is something that he can't control. But if something's rooted, you can't death grip it or Gorfiends it. So I can't use them as interrupts when people root them. But unfortunately, that's part of a Frost Maze rotation. So it's like, what are you gonna do?
Shattering bellow.
Okay, we pull this guy. We're gonna go pull him into this next pack. We're gonna pop coolies here though. And we're gonna Gorfiends them all onto him. I should have got that interrupt. I should have been good enough to get that. We're not getting the explosives. It's probably gonna kill me.
Ground shatter. Boulder throw.
Yeah, we need to be cleaving off of this dude. He's a big boy.
Boulder throw. Ground shatter.
We're gonna be so over percent. But that's just the nature of wanting heroes so badly for that one boss. It's okay. It's not a big deal.
Going
The bad tab target.
boulder throw.
That was our mage.
Ground shatter.
And we're also in combat with this thing now. Tight. I think that one was the monk though. Might as well start the event, right? I don't want to be in melee with these things. Why would you not release? I'm gonna set him on fire. You should not do this in keys you care about. But I'm a little toxic sometimes. So this is like a soup. This is probably my least favorite captain's combination. Eudora can easily kill people. You get 2 powder shots in a row and you can die. Not at this key level, but at higher key levels. Like nobody, I think people really underestimate powder shot. It like really messes people up. Like really, you get 2 in a row and there's just nothing you can do about it. Like you have to personal, you have to be on top of it. You have to be watching that stuff. It's like so important. You add it with this guy, which has the damage buff and the fact that you have to be super mobile during it, and it's just it's a recipe for disaster. Your healer gets knocked up once, like knocked away by any of the tornadoes. Eudora decides to this thing gets cast on Eudora and then she doesn't move. Like there's just a million ways that this encounter goes wrong. You don't have the DP. You do have this DPS buff, but it really favors ranged comps, which tend to not be comps that you run too often, especially in this particular dungeon. So you can do like a little stress where you go around in circles, but that tends to be I tend to not have a lot of success doing that stuff. I assume he just stood in the the fire got lagged.
No, I still have bullets in the chamber.
Will I ever meet an opponent who can match my skill?
I don't know how we want to do this pull.
Painful motivation. Painful motivation.
I think we just pray. What I have to do is I have to pull this emissary out during the sea spout. So here,
Thundering
pull him
Spear.
out. Yeah,
Barrage. Painful motivation.
it's okay.
Painful motivation. Sea spout.
Yep.
Sea spout.
And we're like a couple of percent over. We'll be like 4% over. Why are we 4% over? Oh, we're 4% over because we outdamaged the dungeon.
Blade barrage.
So the route, like I said,
Barrage.
took into consideration that we were going to be doing a lot of these mobs would be gone by the time all these mobs would be gone by the time we made it to them.
Blade barrage.
But because we were so ahead of the curve in terms of damage, they weren't gone. So this route actually should have been easier, but because we're just over damaging it, it is what it is.
2, 1.
Freehold tends to be a pretty forgiving dungeon in terms of time and mobs as well, and density. So it's like this is
Swift wind saber.
probably one of the best learner dungeons, like introductory dungeons. A lot of the mechanics are simple, easy to overcome. None of them are too punishing. Like if you mess them up, you basically cannot do the mechanics and you'll still make it through the dungeon, where in other dungeons it can cause wipes.
Men, acquaint these scallywags with our heavy guns.
Swift wind saber.
Um, Harlan has a 50% damage execute at 30%. So
Swift wind saber.
it's all about trying to race to that execute.
Cannons! Blast these scurvy dogs to bits.
If you stand closer together and not do what this group's doing,
Saber.
it makes your positioning a lot easier.
All hands on
Yeah.
deck. Men, acquaint these scallywags with our heavy guns.
Yeah, this is like exactly what you don't want to be doing. Like you gotta predict. Yeah, you want to be grouped up for this. Like even like especially as casters, you gotta not be lazy. This is like lazy behavior. It's not. I'm gonna mark him so that he knows.
Swift wind saber.
Men, acquaint these scallywags with our heavy guns.
Nice.
No one better touch my booty.
So lazy, very lazy. By the way, that's what costs a lot of keys. It's normally just people people being greedy. Happens a lot in raid too. You'll see that happen in You'll see that happen in raiding environments a lot. What will happen is
Greasy.
come here.
Greasy.
People get very excited at 1% pulls and then like stop doing mechanics. And the reason they'll stop doing mechanics is like, I don't need to do mechanics. The boss is at like 1%. And then you have like a 1% wipe and you're like, how did we wipe at 1%? It's because 18 people decided they didn't want to do mechanics anymore. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's just,
He is the dynamo of defense.
I've seen
it's one of those things that's like, do you if there's no police around, do you jaywalk kind of thing? And it's like, are you doing it because like it's like, what kind of person are you? Are you gonna be lazy about mechanics because you think you can get away with it? No, you just do the you do the mechanics. You always run at 100%. If you're not running, like, what's the point in running if you're not going hard, right? Either you're limit pushing,
Shell bounce.
or you're trying to style. Either way, go hard.
Ludwig goes down. What a fight! These smelly
How you doing, Norbert?
are resilient, and they better be, because their next challenger is the epitome of brutality. A champion that sleeps with the fishes.
It's not about two-chesting. It's about being a better player. It's not about two-chesting. It's about being a better player. We're learning to get better. We're learning to get better. You good? I'm glad to hear that. We're doing all right. I was feeling grumpy and lazy this morning, but we're doing all right now. We're in the swing of things.
Sharnado.
I'm gonna pop my cooldowns and just parry this for days. Parry. 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 The healer should be baiting these. This is one of those situations where, like, the healer can take this thing. Like, how to say this? The healer doing DPS is less important. Like, the healer isn't doing 30k. He's doing 10k, right? So he should be the one baiting it, kind of thing. He died twice there, by the way. I don't know if you caught that. He died, got rezzed, immediately died. I'm actually more curious how many times. I wonder if we can use all his. I rezzed him again. Yeah. Come on, dude. You can do it. I believe in you. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can die again. Oh, damn. He was so close. We did it. Wowie wow wow.